Hello, Mark Red Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today, my guest is Josh Aronovitch from, what you just told me where you were from.
Yeah, from Southern New Jersey.
Southern New Jersey. I didn't talk about blank there. So thanks for joining us today. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. No complaints, or at least none that more sleep or more caffeine won't cure.
I agree on that 100%. So, well, Josh and I just recently met each other when we were over in Italy at a trip over there. It's a really awesome trip. And actually, we had a really good evening with some conversation.
Mhm.
And so, Josh, what do you do? When in New Jersey, what is it that you do for a living
So
or make a difference?
I am what you might call a recovering lawyer. I left law
Okay,
practice in 2008 and started my business helping teens and 20-somethings transform their lives. So I
nice.
do SAT and other standardized test prep coaching. I do college and grad school admissions coaching. And I do what I love to call path, purpose, and passion coaching. Anything that helps folks become more powerful learners and leaders, better versions of who they are, and figure out not just what they want to do in life, but more importantly, who they want to be in life.
Awesome. Very awesome. So how did you what took you to what you're doing today?
So I had an epiphany. I was working in law for about 5 years after I graduated law school,
Okay.
and I liked it, but I didn't love it.
Uh-huh.
And ultimately, life is too short to do something that's not moving the needle to a better world, that's not
Amen.
fully aligned with your values, that feeds your wallet but doesn't feed your soul. So I gave my 2 weeks notice to my law firm in Philly. I'd worked in Chicago, then in Philly.
Okay.
And after I gave my 2 weeks notice, I'm like, oh crap, what do I do now? This was
Right.
4th of July weekend, 2008. And
Okay.
I did some soul searching. And I realized that the happiest I had ever been working was when I paid my way through Harvard by teaching LSAT classes. So
Oh,
the
really?
LSAT is kind of the older, meaner, angrier brother to the SAT. It's the test.
Okay. I like it. Okay.
And I taught that pretty much full time to pay for law school. And I didn't love the tests. Standardized tests are bullshit. I don't love standardized tests, but I
Okay.
loved seeing the patterns of how they work, of figuring out how to master them, of learning what made them tick. But I realized in teaching that I love even more diving and understanding how a person thinks, how a person learns, how they look at the
Cool.
world, and how to explain things in a way that not only will help them understand them, will help it stick with them.
Love that.
And when I realized that, I called up my old boss. I'm like, Ari, can I license your content? I worked for a company called Testwell when I was in
Okay.
school. And I asked him if I could license his content and teach his stuff in South Jersey and Philly. He said no. I'm like, no? What do you mean no? I'm not used to
Huh.
people saying no when it's important.
Right. Right.
And he said, I wish I could say yes, but I gave these other folks the right of first refusal on my stuff. And I'm only allowed to teach
Oh.
it in Boston and New York.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he couldn't say yes, even if he wanted to. So I didn't want to do LSATs at that point because it was only 5 years since I'd worked for him. I didn't want
Right.
to accidentally copy his intellectual property. So I thought SATs.
Right.
I'm still pretty well known where I went to high school. I had just moved back in 2006 to the
Okay.
town I grew up in after 10 years away.
Okay.
And I did SATs. So I read every book on the market. I took every practice test. I created my own approaches and strategies to SAT prep. And I started with 3 kids around my 12th grade health teacher's dining room table. And
Awesome.
in the years since, it's grown from those 3 kids to over 1,750.
Wow.
When the pandemic kicked me out of my office and made me give up the space I rented and go
Right.
virtual,
Right.
that was the kick in my complacency I needed. And I grew to over 1,750 students in 19 states and 6 countries.
Oh, wow. That is so awesome. That's so cool.
It's
Wow.
it's dramatically expanded my ability to reach and impact people and to help them grow, to help them figure out what they need to do, to
Hmm.
figure out where they want to go to school, why they want to go to school, and to actually get in and get scholarship money.
Okay, very cool. I mean, that is so cool. So how long you been doing this?
I've been doing this since October 2008. So
So
it's
really,
up
okay,
on 16 years.
okay, time flies. I mean, that is.
Mhm.
So where do you? I mean, what in like 5 years? What would you like to see it being like?
So one of the biggest challenges for me is growing from the point where I own my business in the sense that I own my own job to
Uh huh.
the point where I actually fully step into that CEO visionary role.
Okay.
And that means ultimately hiring people who can do what I do, who can deeply
Right.
connect and build rapport with students, who can help them grow and help them learn, and to find ways where I can leverage what I do to help more people. That means speaking at schools and to parent groups. That means more writing and public speaking. That
Okay.
means more group programming and not quite as much one-on-one. But it also means expanding from the coaching on test prep and getting into schools to doing more at other levels. So one of the
Okay.
new programs I'm actually launching in October is called the Freshman 16. 16
Okay.
keys to unlock more joy and less stress in the first year of
Ah,
college and beyond. So
wow.
this is a
That
way of continuing to work with folks after I help them get into school to help them get what they came for, to help them approach college in a way that's going to be fun, be playful, but ultimately more rewarding.
yeah, it's a win-win so much, and especially at that age group, at that particular age. I mean, that is so cool. So, I have to ask you, this is a Dreamcatcher podcast. What did you want to do when you were a child? What was your dream then?
My dream when I was a child was to be president of the United States.
Oh,
When I
I
was
love that.
7 years old, I wrote a letter to Ronald Reagan.
Did
He had just gotten reelected.
uh-huh.
And I said, Dear President Reagan, if I were old enough to vote for you, I would not have. But I hope you prove me wrong and are a good president anyway.
Oh, that is so cool. Oh, I love that. And that they talk about going big. That talk about a dream. I love it.
And
So,
if I'm being perfectly honest, even though they say if you want to be president, don't talk about being president, I guess it's like Fight Club. In my heart of hearts, I would still love to serve as president someday. I think
really,
it's an
okay.
opportunity to use the notoriety and the platform of that position to really impact people's lives in a positive way and to use leverage to change the rules of the game so they work better for everybody. So we invest in education. We invest in infrastructure. We do the things that can only be done on that scale
Right.
and then get out of the way and help people to grow and learn and do what they want to do with their lives. And I think that there's
Awesome.
this great common ground that's available that
Uh-huh.
is ignored because people on both sides would rather pick fights and rather
Yeah.
gain power based on divisiveness. And I
Yes.
think that one of the things that's been lost in this country is the ability to have powerful conversations from a place of empathy and respect, even with people where you have deep disagreements on important issues. And I
Yes.
think
I
by
would agree.
doing that, we can figure out where and why we disagree and where and why that won't prevent us from working together to make things better for people.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. So, too bad you can't run for 2024. I would
I
definitely.
wish.
Oh, well,
I'm
yes,
not
I
thrilled with
would.
either option there.
I mean, I can't wait for you to be president because I can see you. And
Mhm.
yeah, we have so much. I don't know how we got to the point we are in this country. We can't agree to disagree. You
Mhm.
know, it's just like it's my way or no way, and people are offended if you don't agree with them.
And I think the
And
problem is people have this deep need to
uh-huh,
connect and belong to something bigger than themselves.
right,
It
agreed.
used to be they found that in religion, but
Yeah,
not everyone anymore. And because of that, political parties and ideologies can become almost like sports teams, where you
true.
belong to your
Never thought about it.
side and you hate the other side. And there's an incentive for folks to stoke that and feed that hate because it
Yeah,
gains them power and gains them notoriety.
right.
But in reality, politics at its best is about possibility. It's about problem solving. It's
It
about
is.
using common leverage to build things to help everybody. But it's lost that because the individual incentives for politicians don't support that.
This is very interesting. It definitely a different way of looking at that, and it is so cool. So,
I think
so
politics is broken, and a lot of people that hate what politics has become just tune out and turn off from it. But
yeah,
that lets the people that benefit from it win, and that
true.
lets the corruption and the control continue. Whereas
Yep.
people that hate politics need to be involved, but need to be involved in a way where we actually talk to each other, even across different
Amen.
politics.
Yep. Yeah, we do.
I mean, one of the
So,
great examples that's one of the most divisive issues is abortion.
yep.
And people are divided into camps. People that believe life begins at conception and it's murder. People believe that it's a fundamental rights issue in women's rights
Right.
to control your own
Right.
body.
Right.
And they ignore the possibility of agreeing that abortion is a tragedy when it
Mhm.
occurs And if we work together to make it less necessary by improving the resources available for adoption, by improving the resources available for folks that do choose to bring children to term, even if they don't have the resources to take care of them, by working together as a caring community, because ultimately making abortion illegal doesn't get rid of it. It just makes it less safe. It just
True.
forces it to the back alleys.
Right. It's still
And I
going
don't think
on. Yeah.
anyone wants to go back there. So if both sides agree that there's areas where we disagree, but we can agree on the need to lessen the need for abortion, then we can actually do this.
Okay. So, so when are we going to get your campaign going here? I mean,
The goal right now is to focus on building my business.
Sure.
Because in the world that we live in right now, running for office without having independent resources means selling out to various interests and people to fund the campaign.
Yeah.
I would love to, over the next 10, 20 years, get to the point where I have the independent resources to at least seed the beginnings of a campaign.
Awesome.
Most likely for a governor first. Not going to jump up.
Sure. Yeah. Do the kind of the process of going up the ladder. So, Josh, where did you? I can tell you love helping people. Where did that? I mean, maybe you've always been that way. Where did that really start showing up?
I think we all love helping people. I think when we think back to what we were like as kids, as young children, it's a natural instinct to share, to help, to reach out and help somebody up if they fall. I think that's just part of what makes us human. It's when we listen to the wrong messages and we focus on selfish things and we distort that basic part of our nature. So I think for me, I'm just too stubborn to let people change me. So I am just still who I was as a little kid. And I still have that sense of wonder. I still have that sense of desire to help. And part of it comes from my Jewish faith. We've always been taught that tikkun olam, to repair the world, is essentially the purpose of our existence, is to continue the work of creation and to make things better and to leave the world better than we found it. So that's a core part of my faith. That's a core part of my philosophy.
Okay. That is so awesome. I mean, so Josh, I know we both know Jesse Cruz. Do you do speaking on stage?
I do.
Okay.
I actually competed at his Mike Story event.
Did you?
This was back in May of 2021.
Okay.
And that was the second event I went to.
In a really?
About 15 or 16 over the past couple of years.
Oh, wow. You really? That's so, okay. It intimidates me, the very first one. How was the very first one? Were you intimidated or just like you were ready to go?
You know what? I had this huge sense of imposter syndrome.
Okay, I know that one.
Because everyone on that stage had gone through such intense traumatic experiences, and they turned that trauma into triumph. They turned that pain into power. And my initial thought was, I haven't been through what they've been through. I don't even deserve to be on that same stage. My story, I mean, I can get up and speak well. I have interesting, fun stories, but
right.
I have not been through that kind of crucible that really tests a person. So I wasn't nervous to speak, but I thought I wasn't in the same league.
Okay, I can see
then
that.
Something shocking happened.
Okay.
They came out at the end of the event, and they said, the judges are deadlocked. We can't choose a winner. But we've narrowed it down to 3 finalists.
Okay.
And my jaw hit the ground when they named me as one of the 3 finalists.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So then they came out and said, we're going to do a sudden death tiebreaker. And we're going to give you 3 words. And we each picked a word out of a hat.
Okay.
My word was community.
Okay.
I had to speak for 1 minute, unscripted, unprepared, on community. And I'll be honest, I thought I hit that out of the park. As much as I didn't expect to be a finalist, at that point I expected to win.
Cool.
I ended up
awesome. Congratulations. That's so cool. Wow.
But it was such a positive experience because I made incredible friends at that event. What was cool, I don't know if you've met Elena Rodriguez. We're in some similar circles.
Okay.
I met her at Michael Faber's Unleash You Now event. That was the first event I went to.
Okay.
While I'm there, I'm talking to Elena. We're sitting at the bar having dinner the first night of the event. And we realized that we're both going to Jesse and public speaking competition a few weeks
Okay.
later.
Uh-huh.
And that's when she says, "Are you going to the one in New Jersey?" And I said, "The one in New Jersey? I'm from New Jersey. What's this?"
Uh-huh. Right, right.
And she says, "I forget who it is, but I'll get you the details." And it's in Camden, New Jersey, 15 minutes from where I live.
Oh, really close.
It's Emilio and Daniela Roman.
Okay.
And they have become friends and basically family, just like Jesse and Desiree now.
Oh,
I
so
went to
neat.
that event. At that event, I met Jose Escobar, who heads the Connected Leaders Academy, and I met
Okay.
Arva Thomas. Jose is in Maryland, Arva's in Georgia. They both became clients. I helped their kids. So I literally got clients in Georgia and Maryland
Uh-huh.
because I talked to a woman from Indiana at an event in Tennessee who told me about an event in my backyard in New Jersey. You can't make
Oh,
it
wow.
up.
No, that is so
But this is how the universe
love it.
works.
It
When we
is.
lean
Yes.
into our purpose, when we
Yep.
lean into our desire to serve, when we talk about what really matters with the people that we come across, we find the people that need our help.
We do. Yes, we definitely do. So that is so cool. So finding your purpose. I talk to people, I talk about dreams, catching your
Mhm.
dreams, but I have so many people that don't really know their dreams. They don't know their purpose. They're lost. How would you go about telling them to find their purpose?
The first thing I do when someone needs help in figuring out why they're here
Uh-huh.
is to follow sparks of joy.
Okay.
Notice when you light up.
Mm-hmm.
Notice when you just feel fully alive. They can be little things. They don't need to be big or significant. But
Right.
notice those sparks. And the other is stillness, whether it's prayer or meditation or journal.
Okay.
But sometimes
Nice.
we need to find a way to get still and silent so we can hear that still small voice within, so we can hear the messages that God, the universe, however you want to call it,
Right.
is
Right.
giving us. Because I really believe that the deeper we go within, the more we go above, the more we connect to that something bigger than ourselves.
I agree too.
And different traditions have different names for it. And what you call it doesn't matter.
Right.
But connecting to that deeper voice, that deeper truth, I think is part of
Nice.
that process.
I
Another
love
thing
that.
that helps is personality tests. I'm a big fan of the Myers-Briggs, the 16 types.
Mm-hmm. Right.
16personalities.com has a great quick version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And reading that and not taking it as gospel, but reading that and noticing what resonates and what, no, that's not me.
Right. Right.
There's another
Okay.
great app. Now,
Okay.
I used to be skeptical of astrology until I tried this app.
Okay.
It's called The Pattern.
The pattern.
And you
Okay.
download the pattern, you put in your birth chart information, when you were born,
Right.
and when you were born, the time you were
Right.
born. And it spits out detailed depictions of aspects of your personality. You can do compatibility matches with other people who use the app.
Okay.
It is shockingly accurate for me and for
Really?
others.
Okay.
Right. It is hysterical how on point some of it is. I don't know how or why,
Wow.
but it gives you a lens
Okay.
to think about what makes you you. And
Very
I think
interesting.
that another way to find out what you're meant to do is to stop trying to be comfortable.
I
Is the
agree.
things that give you discomfort, not pain, but
Mm-hmm.
discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
Lean into that discomfort because that's where you grow.
Right.
Put yourself in situations like some people are afraid of public speaking. Sign up for a
Right.
public speaking event. That's something that will force you to grow.
Oh yeah. Definitely grow. That's for sure. So.
And I think that when people are unhappy, it's often because they're not growing.
Okay.
This was
Yeah.
me back in 2019 or so, 2019, 2020, before the pandemic. I felt stuck. I felt like I was the same person I'd been 10 years ago, that my business was doing good but not great.
Good.
I was waiting for the phone to ring. I wasn't really being proactive about marketing or reaching out to new clients. I was doing well enough that I was comfortable, but not in a good position.
Okay.
And I realized that that was why I was not ecstatically, incandescently joyful,
Okay.
because I felt like I was stuck. Growth is one of my core values. So I knew that
Right.
I need to be pushing myself and stretching and growing in order to feel fully alive.
Okay. and I can't, just the little bit I've known you, I can't see you stuck. You just seem like you just go forward. I mean, you just, um, that is very interesting. So, and I know a lot of people don't want to get out of the comfort, that's just like,
Mhm.
and it's like, nothing changes if nothing changes. So,
Exactly.
and, and then I tell everybody, it's like, you have to well, basically, like the old saying, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And I had a guy the other day. It's like with a leveling up, that there's going to be each level you're going to have some discomfort, so you go to the next.
Mhm.
And or
Mhm.
they want to be whatever this is in their dreams, but they don't want to do, because it's like, well, someday I'm going to be that person. It's like you have to do the stuff to become that person before
Right.
you become that person.
It's like
And
the difference between a dream and a wish. A
yes,
wish is just something you want. A
yep,
dream is something that you are committed to working for and to
yes, amen,
making reality. To
yes,
really dream something, to really visualize it, to imagine it at such a level of detail that you taste it and smell it, and you
exactly.
want it so bad that you can taste it.
You
That's
can,
what's
yes.
necessary because it forces you to grow into the person who can make it happen.
Exactly. It
And
is
that
very
level of
much.
clarity comes from that level of real belief in making it real in your mind and your heart before you make it real in reality.
Yep, and it's got to work that way. And well, and then I get the people with some days. That's one thing. They'll do it
Mm.
someday, and it's like some days don't occur more than likely.
Yeah,
So
some days are never guaranteed. We don't know how much time we have left.
we don't. All we have is this moment right now.
Exactly.
So
So at the
and
same time as we're building for the future, we need to do it in a way where we're fully enjoying the present as well. We need
amen.
to give ourselves permission to have fun, to take
Yes.
that trip.
Preach, just go out and preach, Josh. I mean, tell everybody, because so many people, it's like, well, I'm gonna, disappear, or I'm gonna grind is a word that,
Mm.
and it's just like you have to.
Grind is a word humans use far too often.
Oh, I would 100% agree with you on that one. So,
If it's
but
a
it's
grind,
just,
you're doing it wrong.
you are doing it wrong. You just have to, basically has to become part of the process. You
Mhm.
have to, and if nothing else, Cheryl's cancer back in 2015, 16
Mhm.
taught us that you do right now, and you have to enjoy today as you're going forward. So,
And I
so
think the way you enjoy today is through relationships,
yep,
is through the way you connect with other people, through the relationship you have with yourself.
yeah,
Uh, and I think building those relationships, investing in those relationships, and really, for me, it's a form of radical honesty. Being radically honest with myself and the people in my life. Don't leave things unsaid.
yeah, I agree, 100%. Yeah, because a lot of times that leads to regret if you don't say, because you only for sure have that moment that you
Mhm.
need to do that. So, Josh, have you written
Mhm.
a book, or have you written any books?
I have.
Okay,
The College of Their Dreams, What Every Parent
awesome,
Needs to Know to Help Their Teens.
very
This
nice.
is a distillation of what I teach my clients and their parents in helping them to navigate the college admissions process.
Okay,
Everything from figuring out where they want to go to the importance of SATs to how to engage in the process in a way that causes more joy and less stress. And is
nice,
an exploration and a sense of play, not a sense of pressure. Um,
cool. I like that very much. So, how long did you just is that book just come out recently, or how long ago was that you did you write that book?
so I published this in January.
Oh, it's very recent then. Okay,
Yes.
okay. Do you have more books that in the works, or more books in more books that are in you?
Oh, there's a lot more books in me.
Are
Uh,
they?
so
Okay,
I'm going to be doing a version of this book for teens rather than for the parents.
okay,
I'm going to do a book called Empowered Life Design. Uh,
okay.
and the idea behind that is a lot of what we've talked about in terms of finding your purpose, figuring
Right.
out how to build a life that works for you, making sure all the spheres of your life are in alignment and working to support your joy and your impact and your way of leaving something behind before you leave.
Yeah.
Um,
So important.
I realized, especially in going to these events and public speaking, that while I love the work that I do with teens and 20 somethings,
Right.
we also have a lot to offer the young at heart, uh, the youthful at any age
Yes.
who
Yes.
are building a better version of themselves, a better version of their life.
Yes. Yeah.
And
And I
I'm
love
going to
that.
be planning a retreat to go along with the launch of that book.
Very cool. I mean, that is, and I love that, young at heart, because that's another thing. People think they're too old. It's just like you're never too old as long as
No
you're still
such thing.
here. Yeah, it's just like do it. And
Some of the youngest people I know are in their 70s and 80s.
me too. Something. I mean, and that's the way to do it, because everybody's
Mhm.
like, "Well, why aren't you retiring?" It's like, yeah, I've seen what happens when people retire.
Mm.
Usually, they have nothing left to live for because they've been centered around their work,
Mhm.
so they start dying. And I probably will never retire. In fact, I'm positive I will never retire
Mhm.
because I tell everybody it's like my work and my play are together. It's one and the
Exactly.
same.
And it may be that I retire from profit making work and
Yeah.
do work
Okay.
in nonprofit spaces.
There you
That's
go.
entirely possible that what I do may shift. My need for working for money may shift. But the
True.
fact that I'm doing something to pour into people and make the world better, that's never going to change.
No, I hear you. I definitely hear you. So, I mean, you would set up a nonprofit then,
Well, in my
potentially?
former life as an attorney, I helped others set up nonprofits.
So you know how to do it
Yeah,
then.
I'm currently on the board of one of my best friends' nonprofits.
Awesome.
Krista and Jamie Fee run a nonprofit called Battle to Be.
Okay.
And Battle to Be supports first responders and frontline folks in military, veterans, fire, police, EMT, nurses, etc., in promoting mental health, preventing
Oh
suicide,
man. Oh
building
wow. So
stronger
important.
relations with their communities and crisis response. It's a really amazing organization.
I love that.
They do a lot of great work honoring folks that have lost their lives, whether it's in the line of duty or whether it's at their own hands, because
Wow.
the power and light of their service is not impacted by the way they died. So they have something called the Ferryman Project that hand delivers commemorative plaques across the country to the families of those we've lost.
Wow. That is so cool. I love
Yeah.
that. That is so
They're
so
actually
cool.
having their gala fundraiser, both in person and virtual, in Texas on September 16th.
Okay.
And it's a really, really important organization that I'm glad to be a part of. But yeah,
No.
I've always been involved with various nonprofits and will always spend some of my time helping those that are working to make the world better.
I love it, Josh. That is so cool. That's the way we all need to do it. We definitely
Definitely.
do. So, I just so okay. Talking about mental health, because I talk to so many people that have mental,
Mhm.
health problems, mainly in their 20s. Why do you
Mhm.
think we have so many people in their 20s that have? Seems like a lot of people that are suffering from that.
I think that we've always had it. It's
Okay.
just where people are more willing to talk about it,
Okay.
and people don't just quietly disappear the way they used
Mm,
to.
true.
I think that it's a good thing that there's more awareness of
I
mental
do
health and
too.
mental health struggles. But the other part of it is, I think that a lot of the traditional support structures for people are falling away or becoming less powerful. And a
Yeah.
lot of people feel like they're going through life alone. Uh,
Mhm.
and
I
a
would
lot of
agree.
people are trapped in relationships or families with people that don't know how to support them, whether by not caring or by not knowing how. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. They're not getting the support that they need.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's why
so
I think it's
sad.
up to all of us to reach out to the people around us to let them know it's okay not to be okay,
Hmm.
but that they're not in this alone.
Yes,
And
yes,
that we should all inform ourselves and educate ourselves on how to better support people that are going through mental health challenges.
yes,
And we
yes.
also need to work through government to make sure that mental health is funded on parity with physical health, because it's just as
Right.
important, if not more so. But when
Yes.
you can't get therapy without paying a $50 copay at best,
Yep.
that's a problem for folks that can't that are having trouble making ends meet.
Exactly. They're not
We
going to do
need
it.
to
Yeah.
do a better job as a society of supporting mental health financially. I
I
think that's
definitely
a
agree.
huge and important part of the solution.
I do
And
too.
just to have more conversations like this one, where we talk openly and honestly about mental health
Hmm.
and acknowledge that people are struggling. I
Yes.
think people, some people have anxiety and depression.
Right.
They're
Right.
depressed because of a chemical imbalance.
Okay.
Others are depressed because there are situations in their life in the world that are making them depressed.
Yep.
And there are different things that are treated differently, but both are important.
Right.
And the reality is, when you live in a sick society, being sick about it is the natural human response.
It is. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You're just like everybody else. When everybody's
Mhm.
yeah. No, it definitely is. And Well, I support things suicide because I've
Mhm.
known so many people do suicide, which doesn't get rid of the pain, it just transfers it. And it's such a
Right.
loss for everybody.
Yeah.
And
I
all,
I
go ahead.
pride myself on my empathy of being able to put myself in people's shoes and understand what they're feeling. But the
Mm-hmm.
one thing I struggle with is suicide. I can't even imagine what
Mm-mm.
it would feel like to feel like that's your only option.
I can't either.
But I've had clients of mine who've lost parents to suicide. I
Wow.
have a student of mine, Tyler, who was in the Coast Guard Academy. He was
Uh-huh.
smiling, laughing. He was the life of every class he was in.
Right.
He took his own life, 19 years old. And just my heart goes out to his family. I worked with his two sisters as well. Some
Mm,
amazing people that are using his legacy to help promote suicide awareness and suicide prevention.
that part is good.
But it's just, there's a lot of pain and brokenness in this world.
It really
I
is.
think that when we turn away from it and just like act like everything's great, toxic positivity is toxic for a reason.
Yep.
We
Exactly.
definitely, it's good to focus on the bright side of things. It's good to find the best in situations and the best in people.
Right.
But if we're going to be radically honest, we have to call things what they are. And when things are bad, we have to admit that they're bad. And we have to
Exactly.
hold space for people to feel what they're feeling and validate what they're feeling.
Yes. Yeah.
I think
Yes, we
people just
definitely
need to
do.
be seen. They need to be listened to. They need to feel heard and understood. I think
Hmm.
that's a huge step forward
Yeah.
in helping people to deal with mental health challenges.
No, we definitely need to do something in this country at least. I don't know about the
Mhm.
rest of the world, but we definitely in this country. So Josh, do you do YouTube? Do you have a
I have
channel?
a YouTube channel. I don't use it that frequently or put that much on it. It's one of the things I'm
Okay.
going to be working on in the coming year.
Okay. I just was going to check it out because I
Mhm.
thought everything that I would love to see what you put up
Yeah.
there. I mean, that is so cool. So,
Oh, yes.
okay.
It's search Aronovitch Coaching Experience on YouTube.
Is that
And there's some
okay?
stuff up there, and there will be more.
Okay, very cool. So, helping people, you're going to run for office, you'll be a president eventually
Mhm.
here. So, I mean, what are the things, I mean, what do you like to do on your free time? I mean, what do you enjoy? I think I know you like traveling. So,
Love to travel. One of my goals in life is to visit every country in the world at least once.
awesome.
Um,
I
and
like
I
that
love
goal.
reading. You can see the 8 foot tall custom bookshelves behind me.
yes, yes. Yeah,
I
no,
love reading,
reading.
especially science fiction and fantasy. I'm a
Okay.
huge fan of Star Trek, Doctor Who,
Oh, really?
um,
Okay. Yes, those are
Marvel,
awesome.
the Marvel verse. I love. Um,
Okay.
I'm also a huge fan of football in
Okay.
general, and the New York Giants specifically. When
Okay.
I
Makes sense.
was 6 years old, I started getting into football.
Okay.
I was a little nerd, so I read all the books in the school library about the team's history. I
Right.
read
Oh,
the stuff
I like
in
it.
the newspaper, and I
Right.
go to my dad. I'm like, Daddy, I want to be a football fan. Who's your favorite team? He said the Eagles. I asked my mom who her favorite team was. She said the Eagles. I asked my neighbors. I asked my little brother. I asked my teachers.
Right. Right.
Everyone said the Eagles. So
Uh
this
huh.
gives you a sense of what I was like at 6. Go to my dad. I'm like, Daddy, everybody likes the same team. That's so boring. Who's the Eagles' worst enemy? He said the Giants, and I've been a Giants fan ever since.
I love that.
They've
Oh, what a
won
way
4
to.
Super Bowls in that time frame, so I'm feeling good about my choice.
Uh-huh. Oh, that. What a way to pick a team. I love that. That
Mm-hmm.
is so cool. Um, so okay. I mean, ultimate thing. I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming president. That's pretty ultimate. What is ultimately before you leave this world? Would you like to have left? How would you like to leave your mark? We talked about leaving your mark after we're gone. How would you want to really? I'm sure. I bet you've thought about it. What is it that you would really like to leave after you're gone?
No matter what I do in my life and my career, no matter how many thousands or millions of students I impact, no matter if I do serve as president and change the world, the most important thing I'm ever going to be is a dad.
Oh,
I just have
that is
to
so nice.
fall in love with and marry their mom. So
Yeah.
I'm still looking.
Uh huh.
I am working on myself so I can be worthy of the person that's right
Okay.
and right to be the mother of our children.
Nice. I like that so much. That is so cool.
Is
So
ultimately having that ability day in and day out to help to shape someone's growth and development, to pour into them and believe in them so hard they can't help but believe in themselves. That to me is such a gift and such a privilege.
it
It's
is.
something I so look forward to doing someday.
Yeah, that is so neat. I mean, that is, and that is the ultimate. Yes, the the legacy that you leave there is, I mean,
Mhm.
that is the top. So,
I mean, just we
um,
talked about Jesse and Desiree earlier, looking at the way they've raised their daughters and the incredible
yes,
human beings they've become.
they are. They
That
both,
is
yeah,
such a
both
model in that.
they are amazing, amazing to both of them, amazing young women. So no, very very cool. So okay, Josh, what else would that you got going on that would you like the audience to know?
I guess the main thing I'd like the audience to know is that I believe very strongly that someone's ability to get help should not be based on their finances and their ability to afford it.
I
So if
agree.
anyone is listening to me and thinking, oh my God, he would help my kids so much, or he would help me so much, but is worried about the cost, give me a call, shoot me a message. We will figure out a way to make it work. I
So
will
awesome.
spread out payments over as much time as I need to make it work for
Wow.
someone because I care way more about helping than about when I get paid.
Very nice. And that's the way it should be, and I love that. That is so so cool. So Josh, if somebody how do they get a hold of you?
So my name is Josh Aronovitch. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at Josh the SAT Guy. You can find
Okay.
me on TikTok. You can find me on Google. If you buy my book, The College of Their Dreams, What Every Parent Needs to Know to Help Their Teens, my phone number
Uh-huh.
and email address are actually in the book a few places.
Okay.
I'm pretty easy to find. So feel
Okay.
free to give me a call, shoot me a message, reach out to Mark. He has my contact information.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I would be glad to have a conversation with anyone that thinks I might be able to help or just wants to say hi and get to know me.
Very nice. I love that. So I think Josh, on that, I think I'm going to tie it all up. And thanks for being my guest today. Awesome.
Oh, it's been fun.
And and
Talking to you is always great, even though I
yes,
prefer doing it in the pool.
I do too. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Especially when you're in Italy overlooking that. Yeah, that was it doesn't get much better than that. I mean,
Mhm.
that is like
You
we were
need to get
talking
your
before.
podcast set up so you can record podcasts in the pool.
Okay, I will work on that. That the pool podcast. I don't think I've ever
Pool
seen that
podcast
done.
at locations throughout the world.
That I got to do. That's a win win win. A lot of wins there. So I definitely got to do that. So, yep, I got to get that set up right away. So no, that is so awesome. And maybe have you back for a follow up podcast, Josh.
I would
So
be honored.
okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So, but yeah, I always enjoy talking with you. And thank thanks for taking your time out of your day to be the guest on the Dream Catcher podcast. And until next time, take care, and we'll talk to you soon.